Are we ready?
Yes, I believe so.
Good afternoon, everyone. Let's call this meeting to order. I'd like to ask Director Barnes to lead us in the pledge of the flag, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you, Director. Yes, sir. Metro Cable announcement. The open session meeting is videotaped for Cablecast on Metro Cable 14. Replay on Sunday, January 31st, 2016 at 12 noon, and Monday, February 1st, 2016 at 6 p.m. on Channel 14. Webcast at www.sacmetrocable.tv. The open session meetings are also available for viewing on the district website at www.metrofire.ca.gov. Board Clerk, do we have any speakers this evening?
No, we do not.
Thank you very much. With that, we'll move to the consent items. Are there any questions?
Mr. Chair, I'll move the consent calendar.
I'll second the motion, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you for the move and second. I have one comment on it. Director Rosali is listed as absent and present. Now, there might be some duplicity. I'm not sure
There
which
might
he
be.
was.
I will make note that he was absent from that meeting.
No, he was here.
Oh,
Anyway, we'll
Directors
straighten that up. And
Clark, Gould, and Jones were absent. And Barnes.
Thank you.
Director Orzali was present. I will make changes for that.
Thank you very much. And with that, let's go to the question, please.
Director Mitchell?
Aye.
Gould?
Aye.
Wood?
Aye.
Barnes?
Aye.
Kelly?
Aye.
Clark?
Abstain.
Jones?
Aye.
And Scheidegger.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you very much. Presentation item, fiscal year 2014 annual report. Let's go, if we could, to Ms. Thomas. And Ms. Sheepline is going to join you, is that correct? Good
Correct.
evening.
Good evening, directors, Chief Wells, Amanda Thomas, Chief Financial Officer for the district. So as you know, the district prepared its first ever comprehensive annual financial report, or CAFR, for the fiscal year 2013-14. And in the continued spirit of full transparency and providing a complete and accurate picture of the district's financial position, we have again prepared a CAFR for fiscal year 2014-15. And this is the 2014-15 CAFR. It is available on the district's website. As you know as well, the Government Finance Officers Association, or GFOA, awarded the district the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting for its fiscal year 2013-14 CAFR. And this year's CAFR will again be submitted to GFOA for consideration in its award program. The CAFR has been audited by the district's independent auditors, Richardson and Company, and has received a clean opinion. Ingrid Scheiblein from Richardson and Company is here tonight to present the audit results. But before turning it over to her, I did want to take this opportunity to thank the finance division, the other divisions in the district that assisted in the preparation of the CAFR, as well as Richardson and Company for their continued partnership with the district. And with that, I will turn it over to Ingrid.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Welcome back.
Thank you. So the reports that we issued, I believe, are included in your packet. One of them is an opinion on the financial statements, governance letter containing certain required communications, report on internal control and compliance, an appropriation limit report. I'm going to touch on the highlights of these reports and then open it up to any questions. If you have questions as I go through, please feel free to stop me as well. Some of the audit results, we issued an unqualified or a clean opinion on the financial statements. We had no adjustments as a result of our audit. The district's records are clean and in good condition, and so there were no adjustments as a result of our audit. There was a new accounting pronouncement that's reflected in these financial statements that was issued this year that entails recording of a liability that required a restatement, and I'll go into that in a later slide. And overall, we look at the district's internal controls and determine that the district has good internal controls and processes in place. Significant adjustments, as I'd indicated, the district was able to complete their closing entries prior to the audit, which if you recall in past audits, we've assisted with that process. This year, the district had all of the entries completed before we arrived for the audit, so very clean records. We only had 6 minor reclassification adjustments for financial reporting purposes only. And there were no unadjusted differences that we noted during the audit. So overall, our conclusion there is that the accounting records are very clean. Some of the financial highlights, wasn't going to point to any pages, but just to touch on some of the highlights in the financial statements. Property taxes increased by $8.4 million. Charges for services, which includes medic fees, had a new line item this year. There was a $17 million of the $18 million has to do with the intergovernmental transfer program, where the district pays an amount to the state and then receives a larger amount back from the HMOs in the form of Medicare. Salaries and benefits increased $4.7 million, but that was mostly due to the implementation of this new accounting pronouncement. Services and supplies increased by $7.5 million, and that's mostly because of, as I mentioned, the payment under that IGT program. When the district paid the $10 million in order to get the $17 million back, it's included in services and supplies, so the net was about $6 million. Revenue, if you look at just the general fund of the district, revenues exceeded expenses by $12.4 million. And that's an increase over last year, about $1.2 million, so considerable addition to your reserves during the year. And then for the first time this year, the district had to record a pension liability that was $298 million. We'll see the impact of that on the next slide. As I mentioned, this pronouncement to record the pension liability was effective July 1 of 2014. It resulted in restating beginning equity that reduced it by $394 million. And the impact on earnings in fiscal year 14-15 was an increase in expense by $3.6 million. And then there's some new pension footnote disclosures that you'll see in these financial statements in note 7. Just to show you kind of what the impact recording that pension liability had on your equity, that's basically what's left over after your assets and your liabilities. You'll see that unrestricted line item went from negative $42 million to negative $426 million as a result of that pension liability, basically depleting any reserves that you may have attempted to build up. Then what the liability section looks like as a result of this pension liability, this is just a snapshot of the liability section of your balance sheet. So you see the net pension liability of $298 million. You have pension bonds of $66 million, and your OPEB liability, which is your retiree health care benefits, are $52 million, and then workers' comp, $22 million, and then other liabilities from there. So you can see the net pension liability significantly increased the liabilities of the district. Next, internal controls. As I mentioned earlier in the introduction, we looked at internal controls as part of the audit, and we noted no weaknesses in internal controls, so that report is a clean report. As I mentioned also previously, a good system of internal controls also discussed in that report. We also look at compliance with federal grant requirements. The district expended $4.6 million of federal grant funds during this fiscal year, and so our audit includes verifying compliance with all the federal laws and regulations governing the expenditure of those funds. And so our conclusion there was that the district is in compliance with the federal requirements. One of the new pronouncements that's discussed within the footnotes of the financial statements is GASB 75. And this GASB is actually going to contribute to that negative equity that we saw on the previous page. It's going to require the full amount of the unfunded OPEB liability, similar to the pension liability that you had to accrue. We did see on the earlier slide, you do have an amount already accrued for the OPEB obligation, but that's just the amount by which your annual cost exceeds what you're contributing. This new pronouncement will require the full unfunded liability be recorded. Just to give you an idea, the last valuation that the district had, which was July of 2013, showed the unfunded OPEB liability of $154 million. This number is going to change by the time you have to actually implement, but by June 30, 2018, you'll have an updated valuation before then, but this pronouncement will significantly increase the liabilities of the district and will add on to what you already saw as the impact of the pension liability. So just a heads up that that's down the road in a couple of years. With that, I'd like to open it up to any questions. And before I do that, though, I'd like to thank Ron and his staff for their diligence and hard work in preparing for the audit. I know he worked hard and put in some very long hours to prepare all the documents that we requested. He had everything ready when we arrived for the audit and helped to ensure that the audit was a smooth process.
Thank you. Board members, questions, comments? Director Gould.
Thank you very much for that. You say that they're good internal controls. Is that a sliding scale? Is there awesome? Most outstanding? Is there
I'd say
mediocre,
if it's-
good? I'm
Well,
I'm not familiar with your lingo.
From an audit standpoint, if you had weaknesses or significant deficiency, we have to bring those to your attention, but there were no items. So this is, if your top scale is awesome, I'd say awesome then as well. It's not an auditor term, but I'll use your term.
Yeah, no, you should, right? Because all the hard work they do, good's kind of, right?
Yes,
Like champion, like passion and
Right.
awesome job. Because
They
I know
did.
that was a big challenge for our organization for a while was some of these internal controls were a little bit, off, so to speak. And they've worked their tails off and you got to give them a bigger trophy. The one you're giving is kind of. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
can't put it in writing, but I'll verbally say.
Way to squeeze that out, Director Gould. Any other questions or comments? All right. Thank you very much. I do think this is just critical, and it's a great showing for this department. As Director Gould said, many of us are aware of the fact that we've made a lot of strides in the last few years, and it should be a lot of pride for this department. All right. Do you want to, anything else? That's it? Okay, thank you very much. All right, with that, let's move on to the President's report. One item, the workshop, our board clerk has already sent out a request for dates. Please reply to that as soon as you can so we can nail that down. And I'm informed that in the next week or so, we'll be getting out a request for priorities from board members to be addressed at that forum. So I hope that you'll all participate in that planning process. Thank you very much. With that, Chief Wells.
Get this thing on, there we go. I'll keep it kind of tight this evening as well. But I'd just like to say that on the last Friday night, on the 22nd, they had the 58th Annual Citrus Heights Chamber of Commerce Installation and Community Awards Dinner. And I'm happy to report that Captain Tyler Wagman received the Firefighter of the Year Award. And it was a great event. Myself and Chief Johnson with Captain Wagman and Dr. Wagman, Tyler's wife, was with us. And that was very nice and a great opportunity to interact with the city of Citrus Heights and a lot of their Chamber of Commerce and a lot of electeds, including Supervisor McGlashan and a lot of others were out there from the city of Citrus Heights. So a good opportunity. We met yesterday, actually, yesterday afternoon with our Local 522 and furthering in negotiations. We have a mid-year budget review in process, and the Finance and Audit Committee will see that on the second meeting in February, which will be the 25th. And then it'll be going, the mid-year budget review process will be going to the full board on the 10th of March, first meeting in March. Let's see, I'd like to announce the annual Guns and Hoses football game, Pig Bowl, AKA Pig Bowl, will be on Saturday. There'll be a 12 o'clock pregame with a 1 o'clock kickoff, and that'll be at Sac State. It's a great opportunity for us to get out and support not only the competition, but all the charities and the Firefighters Burn Institute and a lot of other charitable events that go along with that. I know Director Barnes has been intimately involved in that game, and we'll probably speak to it a little later on, but great opportunity for that to be going on. Unfortunately, a large amount of our staff will be at a funeral, unfortunately, for a fallen firefighter, a couple years retired. So anyway, but I would just like to say that great game, and I hope if any of the public is watching, you need to come out and watch the firefighters take over and dominate the field as they did last year in the game.
That's right.
And then on the 11th through the 14th of February, it'll be the annual Fill the Boot for Burns at Sunrise in Greenback. That's a great opportunity where we fill the boot for our Firefighters Pacific Burn Institute. We do that annually, and then we have a Chiefs Challenge that will be on the 13th of February from 9 to 11 a.m. in that intersection of Sunrise and Greenback. So I can go to the event with a heavy boot, so or you can come by and drop it off in person. We'd appreciate seeing you there. Let's see, we have new hires. We have filling some vacancies effective on the 1st of February. A Fire Inspector 1, Angela Broqua, will be joining the Community Risk Reduction Division. Welcome to her. We have promotions for Fire Captain effective on the 26th. Captain Jeff Taylor and Captain Eric Alekman. Congratulations to them. And then just miscellaneous, the district offices will be closed on Monday, February 8th in observance of Lincoln's birthday. So unless you have any further questions, that concludes my report, and I will turn it over to Chief Bridge.
Chief?
President Scheidegger, board members. Eric Bridge, Operations Chief. I got a short report for you tonight. Since our last board meeting on the 14th, we've had a total of 3,500 calls, of which 15 of those were structure fires and 1 brush fire. In the EMS side, we were dispatched to, I'm going to move this further away, 2,800 dispatches, of which we transported 76% of the time, and our good partners at AMR had 4 dispatches and 2 transports. And with that, that's all I have, unless you have any questions.
Board members, any questions or comments for either of the chiefs? Thank you, Chief. I know my arms are getting too short, too. I keep stretching them out. All right. Council Lavra?
No report.
Thank you. Is anyone here from 522? All right. We'll move on. Committee and delegate reports. Executive Committee. The Executive Committee will meet on February 11th at 5 p.m. in these chambers. With that, Chief Bridge, Communications, JPA.
All right, well, the board met here in these chambers Tuesday morning at 9 o'clock, and we approved the request of the City of Ileton and River Delta as, and also, I'm going to go down here, I want to make sure I pronounce it correctly. Also, we also approved the Veterans Affairs Medical Center as participants in the SAC Regional Communication Center. Other than that, there was no other action taken.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions? Thank you very much. All right, Director Wood, the Finance Committee.
JPA, Fire and Rescue.
Did I forget one? I did again. Yeah.
Yes,
Matt,
Mr.
my
Chairman.
apologies.
Quite all right. Mr. Chairman, the California Fire Rescue Training, JPA, will meet again on February 18th here in this building over at the CESC.
Thank you, Director. Now, let's go to finance.
right.
That's going to be a long report, I know.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Finance and Audit Committee met this afternoon here in this chamber. We had our elections. Director Jones was elected vice chair. I was elected chair. We received a presentation from Amanda Thomas on our SCRS liability. This is liability that we've maintained from the mergers with Florin Fire Protection District and their participation in SCRS prior to 1/1/97. Currently, we have $28.7 million in unfunded liabilities under that program, and staff is looking at ways to reduce that or address that as it's coming due in 2022, and we should be getting more information in 5-6 months from now as those plans come together. We also got the budget for the 4 months ended 10/31/2015. The data's a little bit old. We will be getting our mid-year budget information and projections report on 2/28/15. But as of 10/31/15, our medic cost recovery was trending higher than the prior year, largely due to a good recovery in September. So there will be a study to see if that continues or if that was just an anomaly from September. Total revenue was on budget as of 10/31, and salaries and benefits were tracking a little slightly higher than budget as of 10/31. So we'll have a better idea in the end of February as to what those numbers look like for mid-year. So next meeting will be on 2/28 at 5 o'clock in these chambers.
Board members, questions, comments? Director Wood, thank you for that very good report.
Thank you.
All right. The Policy Committee will meet in these quarters on March 10th at 5 o'clock. We postpone it till then.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
it's stated as February 11th,
Uh-huh.
Thursday, not the 10th?
No, it's going to be moved to March 10th.
So it'll
We
be on
have
a
the,
Wednesday?
March
Are
10th.
you going to go to
March
March then?
10th.
You're not going to have
Mar-
a meeting in
March 10th.
February?
You're right,
Okay,
right,
so then it won't collide.
right. Exactly. That's the main reason for the move. With that, we'll go to board member questions and comments. Director Jones,
No comments, Mr. Chair. Happy to be here.
good to see you back. Director Kelly.
Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to say, go Dogs.
Laying it on thick, I like it.
We'll echo that. Director Clark?
No comments, Mr. Chair.
All right.
Thank you.
Director Gould?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd just like to thank all of those men and women that have been involved in the charity event that's coming up this weekend. I just can't even imagine the countless hours, the tens of thousands of hours that men and women put in so that we can have this Guns and Hoses or the Pig Bowl. And listening to Director Barnes the other day on the radio, just how many, millions of dollars have been pumped into local charities from this is just phenomenal. And my hat's off and kudos to everybody that spends those countless hours preparing for this event. And thank you very much for doing that. I think that's quite an outstanding thing. And good luck to the firefighters. I don't think they need it, but we'll just put it out there.
Well said, Director. Thank you. Director Mitchell?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Tonight, I would like to thank our fire chief. In a conversation I had with him this afternoon about a project that I am working on that this board, and I'm sure the chief will, at a later date, there'll be far more information, but he gave me his full support and the support of this district, and I just want to thank him personally tonight to that. It meant a lot to me, and I think down the road, we'll have certainly some great news for my constituents, but I want to thank you for that support very much, Chief. Secondly, as always, the men and women of this fire department that do the hard work every day. want you to know that I think this entire board appreciates what you do, and it should never be forgotten. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Director. Director Barnes, I think you might have something to say.
A couple things. Set the record straight. No, in all honesty, yeah, just to echo on the Guns N' Hoses football game that's coming up, as we talked, I know this will air after the game, but the reality is people need to hear this, that this is the 42nd annual game. It is the longest-running public safety football game in the nation. When the Sheriff's Department started playing the Sacramento Police Department in 1974, and it continued, there was a chance this game was going to go away. And the fire department, now Sacramento Fire Chief Walt White, former Metro Fire, him and a bunch of other people got together and agreed to continue this because they saw the importance. And as I've discussed, it is $1.4 million back to the charities. Some of the major recipients of this is the Firefighter Burn Institute, which is near and dear to all of our hearts. And it's a great chance to support the public safety. We know there's a small fraction of people that truly have a disdain towards what we do, but the great majority appreciate and support it. So it means a lot to me. It's near and dear to my heart. I played in it for many years. Obviously, deep down, I know who I'm rooting for. As I say it, though, the reality is a charities win. I know it sounds politician-like, and it's a boilerplate, but the reality is when you see the kids' smiles on the faces and you get to the group homes and see where this money really reaches and see them get excited about it, the chaplaincies and how we're able to help build or get the equipment for them, I mean, that's where it pays off for us. We honor the fallen firefighters. I also want to echo Director Mitchell's comments about Chief Wells. We are in some challenging times. We're talking about budget, we're talking about contracts, we're talking about a lot of things. And I appreciate your leadership on always coming out to let all of us know what is going on. I can only imagine the countless amount of phone calls you have to make to keep everybody apprised. There's been times you and I have talked, we both, I don't know if we're both heads hitting the pillow at the same time trying to get our day over with, but I appreciate it. I know also it's equally as strain for you this weekend is because you're going to firefighter Paragary's funeral. You really wanted to be at the game. We appreciate that. But again, it echoes the leadership of what you have, that this agency will support people and their family members long after they are gone and even in tragedy. So again, first-class organization. I appreciate it. I enjoy it. I look forward to tomorrow, or excuse me, Saturday. Farmer's Almanac has only been wrong 3 times in the 42 years, and it shows no rain Saturday. So thank you. I appreciate everybody's comments. I hope you can make it to the game. $10 tickets. For you guys, $20, so we're good.
Thank you. If we pay 25, will you suit up?
I will. I will.
Thank you. All right, thank you, Director. Director Wood.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to say congratulations again to CFO Thomas and Ron and your staff for all the work you did to get the clear audit on the CAFR. So thank you for everything.
Thank you, Director, and I agree with that very much. At this point, we're going to adjourn to closed session. I will invite those of you in the audience to take leave if you wish. Thank you for coming. And at the conclusion, we will reconvene and have final comments.